Hello, I'm Breege Burke, and thank you for joining me for this video about a new healing modality that is known as Rahanni Celestial Healing. Now, when I talk about Rahanni, I'm coming from the point of view of a practitioner who has worked in energy healing for 24 years now, well 24, because I got my first certification in 2000 for Reiki 1 attunement, and I mastered in 2002. And so I've been doing that practice for many, many years. I also have a very strong academic background, doing a lot of postgraduate work, particularly in religion and psychology. And I've taught at the university, graduate and undergraduate, since 2003. So I say this all as a preface to the fact that when I talk about healing and healing modalities, I tend to have a very analytical kind of view towards it. I tend to look at it in a very practical and more grounded sense. When people have talked to me in the past about 5D and 5D modalities and things like that, I've always tended to look at it with a bit of a skeptical eye. I've never been big on the idea of ascension. I mean, the idea of expansion, or perhaps expansion of our knowledge, or expansion of our knowledge along timelines as things are changing. Yeah, that I could definitely see. I always tend to think of ascension as too hierarchical, I guess. So when I start to talk to you about Rahanni, and Rahanni is considered to be a 5D type modality, fifth dimension, initially that is a kind of idea that I've met with some skepticism. So when I tell you that now that I am an attuned Rahanni practitioner, that Rahanni is absolutely mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing in terms of what it does for you emotionally, and how it deals with old wounds and old stuff, of how it can help with physical healing, how it can help calm you in the most stressful situations. This is very different from Reiki, and it is a modality that it just absolutely, I can't really say enough about it. So I'm making this video to explain to you what Rahanni is, what kind of effects that it has, and talking about some of the effects that it's had on my clients, including some measurable effects that we have actually seen in people's energy fields when they have had Rahanni before and after Rahanni sessions. So so thank you for joining me as we explore this particular new healing modality that is just has the power to be really, really transformative in everybody's lives. My name is Breege Burke. As I explained in the introduction, I'm a university professor and have been a Reiki master teacher and healer for over 20 years. I've always been practical and grounded when it comes to dealing with spiritual healing modalities of any type. While there are many beneficial healing modalities available today, I've been absolutely blown away by the power of Rahanni Celestial Healing, both for myself and for my clients. So what is Rahanni? Rahanni Celestial Healing is a new channeled energy healing modality that's meant to take us into the Aquarian future. The word Rahanni is often translated to mean of one heart, though the two parts of the name, Ra and Hani, can also be translated something like the sun's favored grace. The angelic energy focuses on opening the heart space to bring about a profound emotional and physical healing. Rahanni calls in energies of what they call the 51 angels of the pink ray. Pink ray corresponding to a chakra color, in this case the high heart chakra. The traditional Anahata heart chakra, which is in the middle of the chest, is usually shown on chakra charts in a green color. The rose image in Rahanni shows the green bud that flowers from that heart center into the pink of the high heart just above it in the thymus area, and it flowers into a full pink rose as the heart opens up. Rahanni also makes use of something called the violet flame, which transforms any anxiety, despair, and toxic energy into joy, hope, and opportunity when it's envisioned. In addition, several archangels and ascended masters are called in to assist with various parts of the healing. For instance, Archangel Uriel's energy brings peace and tranquility, Archangel Jophiel's energy brings happiness and joy, and Archangel Zadkiel is the keeper of the violet flame of transformation. All energy healing modalities begin with a founder who initially receives the healing method and the attunement. The founder of Rahanni is Carol Ann Stacey, who received the Rahanni method in August of 2002 in England. She had a vision of Lord Melchizedek, who is a master often associated with Ra, the Egyptian sun god, and she received her Rahanni activation. She was not sure if she should tell her husband about the vision that she had of Lord Melchizedek, but as it turns out, she didn't have to. He also saw this 7-foot tall figure in their bedroom and wanted to know who that was. So Carol had some validation there that what was happening to her in this moment was not something just being experienced by herself. It did take Carol a couple more years to receive the entire Rahanni system and to connect with her own Rahanni angelic guide. She then began to spread the word about Rahanni, and after publishing an article on Rahanni in a spiritual magazine, she received a call from Neshla Avi, who wanted to experience Rahanni for herself. Carol felt that Neshla was the right person to help attune others to Rahanni and to teach it. And thus, Neshla is now known as the founder-elect, the next person in the Rahanni energy lineage after Carol, and who works at passing the Rahanni attunement on to others. I was trained in Rahanni by Neshla Avi, though my first session was with Jennifer Masters, a Rahanni ambassador from Michigan. We did the session through a phone call. Jennifer told me to get comfortable after we had a brief conversation, and she hung up with a promise to call back in 30 to 40 minutes when the session was over. I had been introduced to Rahanni by a good friend who gave a glowing review of the treatment. When I heard about pink rays and 51 angels of the pink ray, I'm not going to lie, I was initially not sure this was for me. It sounded a little bit lightweight and fluffy on the surface. I was also not particularly working with celestial or angelic modalities at that time. I tend to be very terrestrial in my healing work and interests. As it turns out, Rahanni is anything but lightweight. Jennifer described it to me as Reiki on steroids. I've been a Reiki master teacher since 2002, so I'm very familiar with that modality and how it acts and it feels. As I lay there in my room during the session, I was in no way prepared for what happened. So let me tell you about my experience. Once I was comfortable, I suddenly felt a tidal wave of energy wash over my body from the right side. It was like a tsunami, and the energy crashed from the right side of my body to the left, like waves on a beach. As the energy moved through my body, I wept and then was overwhelmed with joy. The energy circulated through my body, ending up on the left side of my head and swirling around my head and neck in the place that frequently swells up with migraines. I saw all kinds of colors, yellow, magenta, bright bursts of green and yellow light. And finally, I saw a giant violet flame roar up in front of my face. And mind you, no one had told me at that point that violet flame had anything to do with Rahanni. And it was not, again, that was another thing that I had been told about that I never really worked with or really paid a whole lot of attention to, so this was very surprising. And violet helixes of light moved through my body, and light was bursting through my third eye area. So yeah, really intense experience for me. After the session, Jennifer called me back, and I told her about my experience. On her end, she had seen all of the same colors, and was able to tell me which Rahanni guides and masters had involved themselves in my healing on that basis. And she also told me all of the things that she saw on her end. I remember that she said, "I've never seen this before. I saw the 51 angels come running out joyfully, and they all formed a ring around your body and started dancing and singing. I had to tell them to work on you with ease and grace so that you wouldn't be overwhelmed." Because they were coming in like, "Yay, we're going to come in and we're going to work on this person." So they were very excited to do this work, and certainly I felt that on my end. She also said at the end, the one male energy that she saw was Lord Melchizedek himself, and said he appeared at the very end hanging what looked like a diamond on a kind of silver thread over my crown chakra at the top of the head. She said she really didn't see that very often, and whatever else it means, I feel like, judging from other people I know of who've had that experience, that it is often, this can happen as an invitation to either to become a Rahanni practitioner and maybe possibly even a Rahanni teacher, but certainly I felt very much called to practice after that. The first couple of days after the session were filled with intense dreams, and I'm not going to lie, some of them were a little bit frightening because there was all kinds of fears and old wounds that were being released at that time. Rahanni was able to clear me emotionally in ways that no other modality has previously, and I've experienced various energetic healing methods over the years, in addition to Reiki. In-person Rahanni sessions are similar to other energy healing sessions. The client lays down on a Reiki or massage table, or might sit in a comfortable chair if preferred. The whole session is anywhere between 20 and 40 minutes, and the practitioner will channel the healing through the palms of their hands. There are standard hand positions for a Rahanni session, but the practitioner will ultimately use their intuition when placing their hands on or above a client. Rahanni can be done with or without touch as the client prefers. There are front and back hand positions, and the client is usually asked to lay on their side for the back positions, but the entire thing can be done from the front if turning over on one side is uncomfortable. Remote Rahanni sessions can be done via video conferencing call, regular phone call, and in such cases, the client should make themselves comfortable, whether they are lying down or sitting up in a chair. The practitioner will then visualize the entire session, including the hand positions, and will make note of any colors or images that appear, including which angels or masters come through to help with the healing. The practitioner will visualize the client as healed, well-balanced, and happy, and may call in different energies depending on the need of the person. In short, at the end of the session, the goal of the practitioner, while they are doing the Rahanni method, is to envision that whatever it is the client is working on, and maybe even things that they don't even know they need to work on, that they're working through, that those things are healed and whole. So if it's a physical injury, if you picture that person being physically healed. If they broke their leg, then you picture that it healed, and you picture the person walking around again normally, for example. If they have been very, very sad, or if they've been depressed, you envision the person happy and feeling at peace and enjoying life, etc. Before any Rahanni session, clients are asked to fill out a form noting any specific health conditions so that the practitioner can make adjustments to the technique based on the person's situation. For example, if someone suffers from epilepsy, the practitioner will avoid directing the Rahanni energy to the person's head. Rahanni will help regardless of the person's physical or mental condition, and also regardless of one's spiritual beliefs or non-belief. All that's required from the client is that they give their permission, that they're open to receiving the healing, and that they're comfortable. So I've already gotten this question quite a lot. The term Reiki means universal energy, Rei and Ki, and is another very effective and gentle healing modality for physical, spiritual, and emotional balance. So how does it compare to Rahanni, and why is Rahanni even necessary if you can do Reiki? Now, Reiki energy is terrestrial in nature. When we talk about universal energy, we are talking about the energy within the current chakra system, within the dimensions that we live in, the three, I guess if you count time, the 4 dimensions that we tend to live in on this earth. Reiki energy tends to flow like a warm glow, or maybe even like a cooling energy when it's felt by clients. And like many energy modalities, there's often a spectrum of results. Some clients don't feel anything immediate, or they might be awash in a warm sensation. They might have an emotional release. They might see colors or other images during a session. It all varies. One experience is not superior to another, because regardless of what the person is feeling, the healing does actually work. And usually, if they don't feel anything at the time, once they leave, they will notice that they feel the effects of that session once they've left. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Rahanni has been described as Reiki on steroids. Now, as opposed to being terrestrial, it is a galactic energy technique, which is said to have origins beyond the Earth and deals with the energy expansion beyond the Earth zone. So when we talk about the body has hundreds of chakras, but when we talk about the 7 main chakras that we think of the root, which is, sort of our feet and our pelvic area. Then just above that is the sacrum, which is also known as the svadhisthana, and then up to our solar plexus, which is also known as the manipura. Then we move into the heart area, the anahata, and then we move into the throat, which is the vishuddha, into the third eye, which is called the ajna, and then the crown, the top of the head, which is called the sahasrara. Those are the 7 traditional chakras, the main ones. Again, the body is full of chakras, little openings, but that spin like wheels, and chakra literally means wheel. But these are chakras that actually Rahanni works on things and deals with energy levels that are above and beyond the body, which is oftentimes why they refer to this as dealing with ascension or an ascension technique, because it has to do with things that we perceive as being above the body. Now, whether it's really above, like I said, I just see this as an expansion of the energy fields that we're already used to, and it does seem that we are in the world that we're in, that the energy levels and that our dimensional experience is expanding beyond that. So Rahanni works from a space that is beyond that. Now, Rahanni energy has been described as being like a wave washing over the person or like a circuitous flow in the body. The felt energy will often zip around from one part of the body to another. Many clients have an emotional release through tears, as Rahanni does focus on opening the heart center. And as with Reiki, some clients don't immediately experience anything, but find the effects unfolding after the session is over. I have to say, in my personal experience, pretty much everyone I've worked with has felt something. And has felt, in some cases, something, they said, wow, this is really intense. A lot depends on how the client senses energy, as I said before. Most client testimonials, whether my own clients or that of other practitioners, have described Rahanni as intense, transformative, and mind-blowing. Now, while Reiki energy does create a balancing effect in the body, sometimes it's more intense than others, depending on the client, Rahanni is definitely much more intense energetically. It's a real deep clean of the body's mental, emotional, and spiritual blocks, and takes the benefits of Reiki to the next level. After I received the Rahanni attunement from Neshla, I was anxious to get to work with the energy on my clients. The question had come up in class, how much time do we have to wait before using Rahanni on clients? And the answer was, none. You could start today. And of course, especially if you were someone who already had experience in energy healing, Rahanni is a very simple modality to use. It's much simpler than Reiki. There's those of you who are familiar with Reiki and Reiki symbols, there's only one symbol in Rahanni, and it's very easy to use. And there's very few steps required to activate the healing. There's actually pretty much no way you can go wrong with it. Everyone I had worked on with the Rahanni is absolutely amazed. They described the healing as intense, as releasing. Clients who were anxious felt a deep sense of peace and relaxation, and those feeling mentally stuck were suddenly inspired on a path to change. One of my clients recently purchased a BioWell GDV camera that measures the human energy field. It measures stress, organ imbalances, and shows the alignment of the major chakras. She decided to use the machine to photograph her energy field before and after Rahanni healing. She had been experiencing some stress, so the before photo showed chakras out of alignment. It showed that they had a graph that showed it was basically a low, optimal, and high levels of where your stress was or what kind of imbalances you might have. And she had an awful lot that was in the high level, saying, she was very stressed, kind of very out of balance. So we did the Rahanni session, and then she went subsequently later that day, and she took the after photo. And the after photo and the after report was absolutely remarkable and she showed me a comparison between the two, where all of her stress levels went absolutely back to optimal level, and all of her chakras, which were kind of, skewed and out of alignment, all came back into line. And I actually going to show you an image from that report of her chakra system before and after in this video. Yeah, so we have a visual representation there of what Rahanni was doing in terms of balancing with a machine that actually measures energetic fields, which was very interesting. Not to over-repeat myself here, but I have never experienced anything like Rahanni. It's already significantly transformed my life, identifying the ways in which my heart has been wounded over the years, causing me to withdraw into isolation. And in these rather chaotic times, Rahanni angels and guides have been showing me how to find my own way forward, responding with joy and hope instead of with anger and despair. Rahanni also has helped with many of the physical ailments that I've had as I've been getting older. As I'm moving into my 50s, we all develop things or we have life change kinds of physical problems. For me, sometimes it's pain in the back and the hip. As I mentioned, I have these migraines, particularly ones on the left side of my head. I have different things that will come up, and also different things perhaps with moods and so forth. These are all things that afflict me from time to time, and I found that Rahanni has been very helpful in getting those in balance as well. It can work on any area where you feel blocked, whether it's physical limitation, mental block, or an emotional wound. I find Rahanni to be incredibly important, and important enough that I want to make it accessible and affordable to people. Now, people can certainly try a single session, which is still at far less. It's actually less than half of what I usually charge for an hour session of my time to do Rahanni for. Because usually Rahanni, by the time you begin the session, talk about what you want to work on, do the actual session, and then get into the feedback. It takes about a full hour to do the session. And so I'm offering, there's a 1-session price, but I'm also offering a deeply discounted 3-session price, which is really, it's 3 sessions for the price of what I would normally charge for a full service for an hour in person. And this is my remote Rahanni. This is doing this over the web. And yes, it works just as well over Zoom and over the phone as it does in person. Some people like in person and they prefer it, and I will eventually be offering in-person sessions, and I will have in-person information sessions and so forth when I start doing that. But for this, certainly for the remote, this isn't something that is available right now. So if you have been dealing with chronic habit patterns that you can't break, if you're overwhelmed by stress or anxiety, if you feel isolated or afraid and are looking to feel some joy in your heart, you should definitely book a Rahanni session. The results are intense and life-changing. Visit the link in the description below the video to book your session, or if you want to choose the 3-session package, you can do that now. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. If you're as excited about Rahanni Celestial Healing as I am, then definitely join me for a session. Remote sessions right now are posted on my website, transitionlifecoaching.net. So check out the link in the description below for a direct booking link to experience Rahanni for yourself. Looking forward to working with you.